Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got your Week 5 waiver wire video to help you guys out with your fantasy teams. Now, there is obviously a Monday night game that is not going to talk about players that could have possibly got injured or players that really stood out that you should be grabbing. Again, this is based off of what happened this past Sunday, and of course, things that are going to be happening with the future based off of bye weeks and things like that. So these are 10 players I absolutely like that you should be considering putting on your roster. Now, the first player is going to be CJ Stroud. Again, this man should be rostered. He's available in 54% of most leagues. He's going against the Falcons. I don't understand what people are waiting for, especially if you're in a Superflex or QB2. He's probably taken, but if you're in a regular quarterback league, he's playing better than most quarterbacks at this point. He's been amazing, helping the Texans be a better team than most had expected. He has averaged 21 points the last 3 games with a total of 6 touchdowns. He is going up against an average Falcons defense this week. He needs to be on your team. I would love to see his roster percentage a lot higher this upcoming week. We'll see how that goes. Another quarterback I like this week is going to be Russell Wilson versus the Jets. He's available in 43% of most leagues. Now, Wilson just put up another 3-touchdown game with the comeback against the Bears. And I understand the Bears are not a great team in general, but Russell Wilson has had some up and downs. He's had some great games where he's putting up 26 points or he is putting up 15 points. With that said, he's still a pretty good quarterback that should be rostered in most leagues. Again, depending on what your quarterback situation is. There's obviously some quarterbacks that took some injuries this weekend. Justin Herbert, you still got Burrow who's struggling, yet he's rostered 100% of the time. You've got Pickett that just got hurt. Who knows what's going to happen with Mac Jones? So there's a lot of quarterback play that might want to consider grabbing Russell Wilson. Now, at running back, I have Jaleel McLaughlin. He's available in 97% of most leagues. He's going against the Jets. Jaleel filled nicely after Javonte went down with a hip flexor. Now, Jaleel had over 70 yards on the ground, 30 yards in the air, and a touchdown. Javonte is expected to play and not miss any time, but there's that chance, right? And if that does happen, Jaleel definitely looked really good. You can always put Samaje Perine in here as well because he's really the handcuff, but I think they like Jaleel a little bit more, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays a lot depending on how this injury goes with Javonte. He's definitely somebody you may want to consider, especially if you are a Javonte Williams owner. Now, as far as wide receivers, I like Michael Wilson. He's available in 98% of most leagues. He's going against the Bengals this week. Wilson had over 75 yards in each of the last 2 games. He saw 7 targets last week and 2 touchdowns. Wilson is a rookie that has looked really good so far. He's starting to get a little bit more confidence. He's definitely taking advantage of being the number 2 behind Hollywood Brown. He's slowly receiving the confidence from his coaching staff and Josh Dobbs. I'm excited to see what happens if Kyler Murray does come back and Murray actually is healthy and plays this season, because I think Michael Wilson's going to be a nice little steal and help you really become a really solid flex play. So again, he's somebody you're going to roster, especially in deep leagues. And again, depending on what's going to happen with bye weeks. Another wide receiver is Romeo Doubs. He's available in 43% of most leagues. He's going against the Raiders this week. Doubs had a great game Thursday, and even with Christian Watson playing, in the last 2 games, Doubs has seen an average of about 12 targets a game. He saw 25 so far in 2 games, and he's put up over 18 points. So far this season, Doubs is currently the wide receiver 16 at this moment. So realistically, Doubs, who no one really had high hopes on, has looked really good. And some of it has to do with Christian Watson being out, but Christian Watson played Thursday and I know limited, but Doubs looked really good. Jordan Love is going to be a team that's going to be passing a lot, especially with the injuries at Aaron Jones, and Dylan's just not showing up. So Dobbs is a nice player. He should be rostered a lot more. Another receiver you should consider is Jameson Williams versus the Panthers. He's available in 68% of most leagues, which is understood. He was on suspension. But with the NFL changes to the gambling rules and the policy, he now is off his suspension. He was only considered 4 now. So he's back 2 games earlier than expected. Williams should move into the wide receiver 2 role right behind Amon-Ra and take over many of the targets that Reynolds was receiving. So again, Reynolds had some up and down games, but he had some games that he looked really good. Amon-Ra is definitely going to take, obviously, most of the targets. Laporta, but I like Jameson as a nice little sleeper that could be a nice flex play this upcoming season. Now, the last receiver I'm going to talk about is Tyler Boyd. He's going against the Cardinals this week. He's available in 63% of most leagues. Boyd now becomes the wide receiver 2 behind Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins expected to miss a few games due to his injury. But With that said, Boyd has seen plenty of targets this way, but unfortunately the offense has struggled, especially with Joe Burrow being hurt. It does not look the same. The Bengals offense looks very lethargic. Burrow definitely is hurt. You can see it in his gameplay. So with that said, I don't expect much out of Boyd, but if you are somebody who's desperate at wide receiver and needs somebody to play and you can't get Jameson or Romeo Doubs, Tyler Boyd's definitely worth grabbing because he's going to see targets his way. Now, another player I like this grab for the week is Jonnu Smith versus the Texans. He's available in 99% of most leagues, and he is the current tight end one for the Falcons. It's not Pitts. Unfortunately, because of the way this Atlanta Falcons offense is, they are a run-first offense. Jonnu Smith, being the better run blocker, has allowed him to be on the field a lot more often and has seen 20 targets in 3 games. In London, he just saw 6 receptions, 95 yards. He's definitely become the security blanket for Desmond Ridder, and who knows who's going to play quarterback at the Falcons. I think there might even possibly be a chance. So with Heineke there's a chance he gets in there. Jonnu's definitely a better fit in this offense. Kyle Pitts, I understand everyone loves the talent, but it just is what it is. He's not worth rostering. It's Jonnu Smith at this point. Another tight end is Jake Ferguson versus the 49ers this week. He's available in 47% of most leagues. Ferguson has clearly become a favorite target of Prescott. I mean, Dak has definitely thrown his way, putting up 7 targets a game. Just saw a big yardage game for him. It was his highest so far this season with 77 yards. He's definitely getting fed plenty of times with especially teams that focus on CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup haven't really shown up, which I think a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans had expected. It's really Ferguson. He's definitely turned into that Dalton Schultz role and looks really good. He's definitely going to be a top 12 tight end this season. Could even squeak into the top 5 depending on how many touchdowns he gets. He definitely should be rostered. Now, the last tight end you may want to consider rostering is Cole Kmet. He's going against the Commanders this Thursday. He's available in 47% of most leagues. Now, I'm not saying this past game that Fields just had against the Broncos defense, which is horrible, is going to be something he's going to be very good at every single week. With that said, though, Kmet should still be rostered in most leagues, especially with the targets that he's been receiving. He's had one game that I think he had 2. Everything else he's been seeing at least 6 targets or more. So again, he's a tight end that is out there available. He's getting, almost 10, 12 points a game, especially with, the touchdowns he just had. So I had Kmet pretty high going into the season. He struggled because of the offense, but I think he's starting to become somebody you should grab, especially on the radar with tight ends of how poorly they're playing. So he's definitely somebody you may want to consider. So those are my week 5 waivers. Again, the top 10 players that I think you should be considering putting on your roster. There are bye weeks this week. So again, consider that when you start grabbing these players. If you guys already have not subscribed, make sure you guys are subscribed. Once we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, we will be doing a jersey giveaway. So make sure you guys are subscribed and make sure the notification bells are on. It's simple. Hit it, click it. That way you guys are notified when we do our start and sits, any waivers, trades, all that stuff. If you guys do have questions, hit us by the comments down below. We'll be able to help you guys answer your waiver questions. And of course, stay tuned for our start and sit video. If you guys enjoyed the content, hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated. Share this with a friend, league mate, and I'll check you guys out next time.